Hi, this is Miss Litton, and this is my wonderful period 4 class. Say hi. Hi. And we are continuing on our discussion of early Earth and the life forms. I want to remind us of where we've been. If you look, we're underneath the enduring understanding of what evidence demonstrates that different species are related. In our earlier presentation, we took care of the first two essential understandings. I want to see, could you, oldest bio buddy, you take 1, youngest bio buddy, you take 2. The first essential understanding that we have already covered is provide evidence to support the statement. Plate tectonics can be viewed as the surface expression of mantle convection. Plate tectonics would be the surface expression of mantle convection. Oldest bio buddy, could you support that? Go ahead. This is on your calendar for your essential understanding. What is it? Convergence. All right, and then the second essential understanding we discussed is, and this was the last one, the most brief of that, was construct an argument, and this is you, youngest bio buddy, construct an argument based on evidence about the simultaneous coevolution of Earth's systems and life on Earth. Earth systems and life. How did we connect our geoscience with life? How are they related? What did we just talk about? Go ahead. So on that second one, maybe you said geoscience controls the evolution of life, and then life can have an effect on the geoscience. Yes? The geology? Close? All right. And then the last one I want to talk about today is essential understanding number 3, discuss the chemical evolution required to produce the first cells. So this is our origin of life. Now, hear me on this. Do not let this stress you out. Some of you are going to look at this and go, oh my gosh, no, Miss Litton, God made everything. That's okay. I'm not mocking that. I go to church, okay? I'm not mocking that. But what I'm telling you is that this, all I can present here in school is things that can be supported by the scientific method. If you have a faith that's external to the scientific method, some of you are like, I worship science. Awesome, okay? But if you have faith of some sort, that's not the discussion here. This is saying if you take God out of the picture entirely, which some of you are like, yeah, no problem. God's totally out of my life. Vacant. I'm going to hell. Just kidding. Okay, but if you take God totally out of the picture, how could all of this have come about? And what you want to do, if you're in the idea of like, this makes me feel uncomfortable, Miss Litton, God did it, stop talking about, fossils, okay? You want to make sure that if you're going to make an argument, that you make an educated argument. Nothing's worse is when arguing with somebody and they don't understand the science. So you want to, either way, understand the science, okay? That's what we want to do here. So let's start with the origin of life as hypothesized, okay? And this first part should be very familiar to you because we just talked about plate tectonics. So youngest bio buddy, tell the oldest bio buddy, why would this be true about the Earth's atmosphere? Go ahead, talk about it. All right, so come back to me. Gases on early Earth, we know about subduction zones, right? And volcanoes and rings of fire. So these are the gases that we would have. If you analyze what those gases were reducing. Why? Because there was no free oxygen. So the kind of gases you had would be something like this, like carbon monoxide in the air. So could we live on this early Earth? No, not at all. Okay, so on your notes, early Earth, the beginning maybe about 4.6 billion years ago for our planet, 4.6 billion years ago. It was a reducing environment, which is equal to, meaning very little free oxygen. Very little free oxygen. And this is good for building molecules. Okay? What were the ingredients for making life or forming life? What was the substrate? Gas is similar to what would be released from a volcano. Good. So take those gases right there, okay? And steps of life. I put them on little stairs. Can you see the stairs in the background?
Yeah.
Take just a moment and then you can find them. Can you find the stairs? Okay, bottom rung. What's on the bottom rung? If we're trying to get to a cell, a living cell, what's on the very bottom? These inorganic molecules would be what would come out of a volcano. So how could we make these become the next step, which is organic molecules? Well, who is that on the next step? Who is the sample I gave you? What is that? You know what that is? It's not a protein, it's a amino acid, which can build a protein. But a protein would be the next step up, right? Okay, so let me walk you through this just a little bit, just in your mind, so you can start putting it together. These inorganic molecules, we would want to form organic molecules like this: sugars and amino acids and fatty acids, etc. Then, but there's no living thing that's making these like you have it in your own body. So how could that have come about? What's hypothesized to get from step 1 to step 2 is you would need a source of energy. Where could the energy come from in order to join these to form these, to go up that step? It could have come from lightning, good, or molten lava, magma. It could have come from UV radiation from the sun. From what did we say was in the core? Radioactive what? Isotopes. Those could all provide energy to go from step 1 to step 2. Once you're on step 2, you need something to hook these amino acids together to build a what? Protein. To hook the sugars together to form a carbohydrate. To hook the nucleotides together to form a DNA and RNA, nucleic acids, right? To hook fatty acids and glycerol together to form a lipid or fat or a steroid, right? So that's the next step up, organic molecules to macromolecules, like these, proteins and carbs and lipids and nucleic acids. Once we have these, maybe we can build our first cell. Think about it. What goes on the outside of the cell? A cell membrane. What is a cell membrane built out of? Phospholipids and and proteins, right? So we have already studied what cells are made out of. You have all those organelles, membrane enclosed organelles. The membranes are made out of phospholipids and proteins, right? And this nucleic acid that you would form could be your code book, could be RNA, could be the first one, because RNA can act to store genetic information, but it can also act as an enzyme as well. So once we have these, we could build our first cell. Do you think your first cell was prokaryotic or eukaryotic? Prokaryotic. Why?
Because it's like
simpler, right? Okay. Do you think that first cell was an autotroph or a heterotroph?
Autotroph.
Think about what a plant does. What are the two processes that a plant has to do? Photosynthesis and cellular respiration. A heterotroph only has to do cellular respiration. So what do you think came first? Do you think we lost the ability to photosynthesize, or plants gained the ability to photosynthesize? They gained. So probably what came first, an autotroph or a heterotroph? Probably a heterotroph, and then an autotroph would evolve. Okay? And once it could become, I think I'm done there. Once it could become self-replicating, it would be a true cell. Okay, so these are those steps. So on your notes, where it says energy, the energy to do this in this early soup could come from lightning. Write that down. What else? UV radiation.
Magma.
Molten magma. Good. Write all those down. Radiation. UV light, molten magma, lightning, radiation. What do we need this energy for? We need to go from those inorganic gases that came out of what? Volcanoes. Out of that can. Volcanoes, in order to make organic molecules like amino acids, right, and simple sugars. And so a man named Oparin hypothesized that due to these things like UV light, lightning, radiation, you could take these gases and make these organic molecules. Oparin hypothesized it, but a man named Miller actually did an experiment with an apparatus that looked just like this. He took those early gases, put them in this chamber, and started getting it to cycle. Cycle right here with heat. What could this heat represent? Magma. What could the electrode represent? Which would be what? Lightning. In a week's time, he took those gases, cycled this for a week, and he went and removed, and out came amino acids. And this science has been repeated. He did it in a week. We're saying you had billions of years to do this. Okay? So it is probable that you could take those inorganic gases and make organic molecules. Then you have to hook these together, right? You have to go from being a monomer to a polymer. That would be the next step up. So on your notes, the experiment proposed by Oparin, performed by Miller, circulated proposed gases in an apparatus modeling the conditions of early Earth. After 1 week, and then write down what are the things he removed in just 1 week, what was formed. Now, another idea is that some of our organic molecules could have also come from like comets or meteorites, extraterrestrial, like inoculation. So that's another hypothesis. So also proposed organic molecules had extraterrestrial origins, like comets and meteorites. I'm not my best self. Comets and meteorites. So that's our first step up, going from inorganic to organic. Now let's go up one more step, stage 2, evolution of polymers from the monomers. So to go, and here I need to show you this. From deep sea vents. What are deep sea vents? Those could be what? Divergent, right? Divergent boundaries like from seafloor spreading. Ammonia would be, you would use that up fairly rapidly, and a source of that could be iron, nickel. Where do we know iron and nickel comes from? The core, right? And you could convert nitrogen gas into ammonia. So that's underneath evolution of organic polymers, you would have energy at hydrothermal vents. And then that same heat and energy that you had before could be used to go from monomers to polymers. So proteins, proteins probably evolved first, and what they have found is that if you go through a heating cycle, like they get dry out on rocks, clay can act as a catalyst, that little small proteins would be formed from amino acids. That can be repeated. They're actually called Protoid Microspheres, and I'll show you a picture of them. But proteins first, when heated in shallow pools or on clay surfaces acting as a catalyst, or on clay surfaces acting as a catalyst. So these are microspheres from hot proteins cooling. There are scientists before who have found these and thought they discovered a whole new species and like wanted to name them. And so they're like the early, remember a cell membrane is made out of lipids and proteins. So this could be the protein portion of it. There's also something else that forms with fats and water called Oparin's coacervate droplets. And it could be some combination of these two to get your first like cell membrane. Then stage 3, going up a step, evolution of protocells. And you have to have at least an outer membrane. you have to have at least an outer membrane. Okay, and then stage 4 is the evolution of true living cells. They have to have a self-replication system and most likely using RNA initially because it can act as a substrate and as an enzyme. Not it. Somebody needs to go first and do a little explaining and just take a step up and then have the other bio buddy take a step up. How could that have happened? Go ahead. We're doing
Oh, I know this. And then there's energy hydrocarbon plants and then protein and the at home cells they have a yeast and outer membrane, and then the evolution of true living cells, self-replication system, most likely using RNA initially because it can act as a substrate and as an
All right, let's answer a few questions. So you're already logged in, yeah? Here you go. Got 5 questions. Let's see how you do. I'm going to pause this while you're working. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop it because I think a few of you are in twice. So let's see how you did. The atmosphere in which life arose lacked free oxygen. Only one of you missed that. Look to see if it was your bio buddy. Come alongside. Help them to understand.
Oh boy.
All right.
That's what I was gonna write.
Okay, you guys come back to me so I can make sure. This one, obviously, we struggled on. Just 21 of you got it right. Okay, life itself changed the conditions for life to evolve again. You don't worry about life arising out of puddles in your backyard. And the reason is it's no longer a reducing environment. What is it? Oxidizing environment. So you don't have that building capacity. Things tend to break down. All right, let's look at the next one. Good, everybody got that right. Miller's the one who performed the experiment. Protocells probably obtained energy as heterotrophs. 2 of you struggled, and yeah, 3. Check your bio buddy, see if they struggled on question 4. Look at their, they don't show you, they didn't know. Come along and guide them. Question 4. Show them your question 4.
Oh, 6.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, we're the only 2.
Yeah. Oh, look what people did wrong. What did they think I was asking? How old the Earth is.
Oh.
But how old the first fossil is, 3.5, 3.6. So about 1 billion years happened between Earth formation and the first fossil. Okay, tell your bio buddy, how comfortable are you feeling with this material? And hope you're studying or reviewing.